Hello and welcome to the Wright Know Your Money podcast. I'm Ashley Smith.
And I'm Tom Richards.
On the Know Your Money podcast, we talk everything finance from financial planning tips to how what's going on in the world around you affects the money in your wallet and most importantly, your financial future.
If this podcast helps you, please like and subscribe so we can help as many people as possible moving forwards. On this episode, we're going to be talking about interest rates and specifically, why have they increased in recent months? This is a hot topic at the moment as we've seen both individual clients and companies both be impacted by increasing interest rates. The Bank of England has officially increased its interest rate from 0.1% in October 2021 to 4% at the time of recording in February 2023. As you can see, that the rate back in 2021 of 0.1% was far lower than today's rate. Ashley, can you explain what are the reasons for this?
Of course, yes, thank you very much. So you are correct. Prior to the recent increases, the Bank of England base rate was incredibly low. Any time where the UK economy is struggling, specifically during COVID in recent years, one of the tools used by the Bank of England is to reduce interest rates. And the primary driver of this is to reduce the cost of borrowing for households and for companies. And the theory is that if the cost to borrow is low, it's more likely that individuals and businesses will borrow and in turn spend that money. If more money is being spent, more goods and services are being consumed, more people will need to be employed to meet the demand, who then will in turn have more money themselves to spend on goods and services. If the demand for further products and services increases quicker than those goods or services can be provided, however, this leads to increased prices as both individuals and companies will pay more so that they can be the ones that receive those products or receive those services. This then leads to inflation. We've previously done a podcast on inflation and how that impacts you, and if you want to go back and listen to that, you can do so.
If reducing interest rates can increase demand, does this mean that increasing interest rates can have the opposite effect? Could you just explain that to our audience?
I can, yes. So we're currently in a period of high inflation and the Bank of England have used interest rate increases to try and get that to a more acceptable level in line with their 2% a year target. So there's many discussions that can be had around the effectiveness of their policy, certainly when we have supply chain issues impacting inflation rather than demand issues. However, for today, we're going to look at the theory of why central banks raise interest rates to try and combat inflation. So if interest rates increase, the cost of borrowing increases with it. Any existing debt that you hold, either as individuals or businesses, becomes more expensive, especially if it's not in a fixed rate period or if your fixed rate period is about to come to an end. For most individuals, the biggest impact here is on the cost of their mortgage. If the interest rate goes up and there's not a fixed rate product in place, or if that fixed rate product is coming to an end, the cost of that same debt and the monthly payment is now going to be higher. If an individual's income hasn't increased to match the rise in the cost of that debt, then effectively their disposable income, the amount that they have left at the end of the month to spend on non-essential items, is going to be lower, which in turn means that non-essential spending is also going to be reduced. By reducing an individual's ability to spend and reducing the attractiveness of borrowing new money, it in turn reduces the demand for goods, the demand for services. Another reason why high interest rates reduce demand is that the attractiveness of actually saving that money increases as well, because your cash rates within your bank accounts are also going to increase. When the rates are really low, as we've seen in recent years, they've almost been zero. There's little incentive to actually save that surplus cash, and it actually encourages you to go out and spend it. However, if you're now seeing interest rates increasing and you can start to get some better interest rates within your bank, there is more of a desire for individuals to actually save that money. If demand for products and services ultimately drop, you would also expect then prices to reduce as well, as there's no longer that surplus of people willing to pay more to get those products or services as there was previously.
Now that's really interesting, thank you. Can you now explain to listeners the unwanted consequences to increasing interest rates to control inflation?
Of course, so reducing demand can reduce inflation, as we've just gone through. However, it does also increase the risk of a recession. If less people or businesses have the ability to spend money, ultimately then less products, less services are required. As demand reduces, employers will require less employees to provide those products and services. If less people are in work, there's less money available for them to spend at a time when potentially the cost of their debt is also going up. So this can lead to both individuals and businesses struggling financially. As you can see, trying to balance inflation, interest rates, the economy is not the most enviable job to have. Managing and planning your finances in times of increasing or decreasing interest rates can be very challenging. And having the advice of a professional can really help put you on the right long-term strategy. As always, if you want to speak to myself or one of the other chartered advisors here at Howard Wright, the best way to get a hold of us is to go to the website www.howardwright.co.uk, and all of our contact details are on there. Thank you for listening to the Howard Wright Know Your Money podcast. I've been Ashley Smith.
And I've been Tom Richards.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe or share on your socials. And if you're listening to us on Apple Music or Spotify, please drop us a follow or leave us a review.
It really helps other people find the podcast, enabling them to know their money better and build stronger financial futures. Please also check out the Howard Wright link tree for loads more tips, tricks, articles, videos and podcasts that we think you'll really enjoy. And most importantly, stay tuned for future episodes.
This recording contains information from sources believed to be reliable, but no guarantee, warranty or representation express or implied is given to its accuracy. Howard Wright does not undertake any obligation to update or revise any future statements. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. Investments can go down as well as up, and actual results could differ materially from those anticipated. This recording is for the information purposes only and has no regard to the specific investment objectives or financial situation of any individual. The information contained in this recording is not intended to constitute and should not be construed as investment or financial advice. Appropriate personalised advice should always be taken before entering into any transactions. No responsibility can be accepted for any loss arising from action taken or refrain from being taken based on this publication. Howard Wright is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.